Hey, what's going on, everybody? We got another NBA Finals post-game show for you. I got my man Julian, Sam, and Gonzo with me tonight. First, I'm going to start it off with Sam. Thoughts on tonight's Game 3?
Hey man, before I do anything, let me just go and do this right here. Let me just go and do this right here. Now, on to the game, paying homage to the man Muhammad Ali. Cleveland came out like a desperate team. They executed. Give them credit. What credit is due. LeBron was many aggressive, passive aggressive. Kyrie got off. He got his shot down. The bench, the role players. I mean, not the bench, but them as a team played a great game. And Golden State really didn't have an answer and really didn't show up. The only person that really showed up for Golden State was really Harrison Barnes. That's about it.
Absolutely. That was a bad effort. I'm with you on that. Gonzo, thoughts on Game 2 or Game 3?
My thoughts on Game 3, I kind of expected it to go this way a little bit. First of all, the first two games, whether the Golden State Warriors were down, whether they were up, the officiating was it seemed pretty fair. Tonight, I didn't like the officiating out the gate. It just seemed like you knew it was going to be favored in Cleveland Cavaliers once they came out. Like, it was weird. Like just some of the calls, like the offensive fouls they call, like really, like it's like they didn't let them play out. It's like they were calling petty fouls. Like one time, Draymond Green was on a fast break, and he went in for that layup, and he got fouled. They didn't call anything on that end, but then you call a foul on the other end for Tristan Thompson because Azili and some guy tried to argue me on Twitter and say that Azili fouled Tristan Thompson. No, he just the verticality rule. He was just jumping up when he pump fakes straight up in the air. Those do not warrant fouls. But regardless, credit to the Cleveland Cavaliers. But is it really credit to Cleveland Cavaliers, or was it that Golden State just did? It's almost like Golden State didn't play the defense that they played in the first two games. Steph Curry is pretty much absent in this series. Klay Thompson is absent in this series. It's like everybody keeps saying this Cleveland's defense is stopping Steph Curry. Steph Curry's been shooting 30-foot threes all season. You mean to tell me he can't take step back threes? He's been doing it all year long. So it's like, what is making him so hesitant to do it now? Is he scared of the moment? He's expecting role players to carry them now? Like, if they're expecting that, I expect them to lose this series. But hopefully they get it together. The only person that seems like they brought it tonight, this is what Sam made a good point after Grill. Harrison Barnes is the only one who showed up and looked like he had no fear on the court. But overall, I expect a different outcome. Game 4, I expect a blowout by Golden State. They won't lose another game in this series. Trust me, they will not make the mistakes they made tonight.
Before I go to you, Julian, I got to ask it because Gonzo, he's saying expects blowout by Golden State. So as Mike Breen just told us tonight in the broadcast, there was 19 blowouts and 25 or more in these playoffs. Now 20 with this game. What's going on here? The next closest in any time in NBA history in the playoffs was 11. So we've almost doubled that. What's going on here? Why are all these and 10 of these 20 blowouts have come in the conference finals and the NBA finals? Like Gonzo, what do you think that is? Why all these blowouts? They're making we got these good teams making each other look like the Sixers.
I think, honestly, in my opinion, I'm going to tell you what I think it is. And everybody keeps talking about basketball as a game of runs. I don't believe that. I think we're just in the era of the officiating is so lopsided now. The hottest team, like the team that starts off more aggressive or gets a lead by 10 or 15 points, everything goes their way on the call-in. So they just stick with that. It's like, okay, well, they got a hit early, so we're just going to stick with giving them all the calls tonight. You know, I'm assuming that's got something to do with it. And
ironically, though, to that, I think the only road team that got smashed was the Rockets in round 1 in Game 4 against the Warriors. Every time, I think the home team has been the one blowing the other team out.
Yeah, and it's so ironic to me. Or could it be that the NBA today, that everybody keeps talking about, is so athletic, so much faster, so much stronger, the players are so much better than older players? Could it be that, honestly, the league is actually at its weakest point now?
Man,
Let's be
I
honest.
don't want to say it's at its weakest. I actually think the mid 2000s, like while there was all that talent, I want to say that in the mid 2000s, I mean that's when you had guys like Stroll, Swift coming in, Hakeem, drafting all these guys based on athleticism and potential. So I don't want to. I think it's more skilled than it was now 10 years ago, but it's definitely a softer league. They've lightened up on the rules. But I've kind of got this theory, and I could be totally wrong. I got one or two things that's going on. These road teams are going on the road and they're partying like shit. Like that night when I don't know if it was game 3 or 4, but in Toronto when the Cavs got blown out, like half the Cavs players were out partying. They were at the casino till like 3 a.m. and you got a game the next day. So I'm wondering if guys just are not focused on the road and the effort is not there. Like that's what I'm wondering. I mean, that's kind of my theory. I could be wrong, but Julian, game 1 or game 3, man, my bad. Game 3. What are your thoughts on tonight's game?
We'll just going back to our other video that we did the other day. We were talking about how the NBA might be rigged, that these teams are trading baskets with each other. I mean, it kind of seemed like that, but the Cavs played much better defense tonight without Kevin Love, and
Yes.
honestly, I think they're much better without him on the floor. I think Stephen Curry probably had the worst game of his career until like
I don't know if he had the worst game because he did have 17 in the second half and caught fire, which is big.
Yeah.
I think that's important.
late in the third quarter. But until then, I mean, he was just turning it
trash.
over.
He was trash.
Klay Thompson's.
Yeah, I said this on Twitter, and you guys can you can jump in on this. It wasn't the fact that at the time Curry had, like, middle of the third quarter, he had 2 points, he was 1 of 6 shooting. And everybody was saying what great D the Cavs were playing on Curry, and I actually agree. But I was not shocked at the fact that he was 1 of 6. It was the fact that he only took 6 shots. And if you watch the game, he was struggling getting shots off. Like, that's what I noticed. That was what was impressive to me. They were preventing him from even shooting the basketball. So you guys,
like when he was off the ball, they were just told, like, they wouldn't let him get in any space.
Yeah. If you notice, though, and I watched it a little bit because I know we all tend to watch the ball when we're watching a game on TV. We're paying attention to where the ball's at. But you got to sometimes watch the off-ball action to see what's going on defensively. And they're switching everything with Kurt. Watch when he cuts down the lane, someone steps up, and they're in there to step up on him. And they're switching things. And one thing, I got to give Tristan Thompson credit. He's moving his feet on defense on these pick and rolls. And Curry's having to throw up crazy contested shots. But, obviously he's probably the best offensive player in the league, so he's going to figure it out. I'm not worried about him as he did in the second half with 17 points. So he's probably going to figure that out. So we'll have to see. Klay Thompson kind of scares me, though. And I always say that, Curry averaged 26 in the finals last year, so he wasn't awful. He was decent. I mean, he could have won the MVP, depending on how but Klay Thompson was not good in the finals last year either. So you guys think that the moment is too big for Klay?
No, I think with Steph, I just think Steph is hurt. Okay, and you don't see the lateral quickness in what he usually does. And I think this will probably be more revealed after the season's over with.
Yeah.
Klay is more of a catch and shoot guy. Although he did score some skills on one move he made, but he's more of a catch and shoot guy. And you just got to give number one, he's missing shots, but number two, he's not getting in rhythm. He was also the stage ain't big for him for the simple fact that the stage wasn't big for him. He wouldn't have done what he done against OKC. So to me, they haven't got to that point yet. When you're down 3-1 and you got to carry somebody, and then the troops rally around you. But see, to me, where the stage is too big for, to me it was too big. It's too big for Kevin Love. To me, to a certain until tonight, it was too big for Kyrie Irving. He finally showed up, and like we was talking off air.
Here's the thing, though. I noticed with Kyrie, and maybe you might disagree, and that's fair. I noticed Kyrie Irving. I didn't see any change in his game tonight.
No.
All I saw was the same one-on-one play bullshit that he does, but he made
He was
shots.
just making them.
He just made shots like we was talking off air.
Yeah, and like you said, Sam, tell everybody what you told me in the pre-show.
I said
about his 8 assists.
He had 8 assists, but if you look at his assists, is when he couldn't get his shot off. Oh, let me get rid of this rock. It was not like I'm looking to pass the ball. He's a shoot first. He has shoot first mentality, a score first mentality. That's just him. That's who he is.
Hey, Gonzo, you think that's pretty much what happened tonight? Same old Kyrie Irving just made shots tonight?
That's all it was. Next game, he'll probably back to laying bricks, Kyrie Irving. Just, one thing about Cleveland is that, see, everybody's been giving them a lot of credit. First of all, they play in a weak Eastern Conference. They pretty much breezed through the East. And then Toronto kind of showed us something about Cleveland, that they're inconsistent defensively. I don't think it's so much of a. I don't think Cleveland is. They're not made for this stage. Tonight was just one of those games where you got to win. Golden State was probably tired from the travel. Like I said, just due for a little rest. They just went to a 7. Just think about it. They just went to a 7-game series with OKC, right? Then they come out maybe what was it 2-3 games because they ended it on
they had 2 days off between game 7.
Yeah, so 2 days off.
Yeah.
Then they play 2 games and they win 2 games. Now they have to travel to the East. The timing is a little different, so they're about due for a game. Not say it's a whole lot, but maybe a couple hours.
And see, and you know what? And here's the thing. I don't know if I know a lot of people have traveled across country, overseas and stuff. I don't know how many people realize just how hard when you change time zones. It's tough. That's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah,
and that's when you're not doing shit. Imagine playing an athletic event, whether it's football, baseball, basketball. It's not easy. You're tired as shit because you got to remember when is Cleveland East Coast? I believe that's East Coast time.
Yeah,
so
that's
you got to
Eastern time.
remember
The
Warriors. I mean, not an excuse. They played like shit tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's 3 hours of difference in time zone. So I mean, that definitely I think has an. But it also same for the Cavs when they go to the West Coast. So it balances out, I guess, in the end. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. And here's a question for all of you guys, and anybody can jump in first, doesn't matter. Kevin Love, do the Cavaliers need Kevin Love? Is tonight the perfect example? And question, do you think, because Kevin Love was mad when they wouldn't let him play. I mean, I think it was Mark Stein who tweeted out Kevin Love upset that he's not allowed to play. And I'm starting to think, in my mind, that he's actually clear. But the Cavs doctor makes the decision. He's the one who does. Did the Cavs tell the doctor to not clear him because they wanted to experiment because they don't want him in the lineup?
LeBron told the damn Cavs doctor we don't want his ass in the lineup.
Yes. GM LeBron strikes again.
Look here, Kevin Love. Let me tell you something, dude. If Cleveland wins, somehow were to win Friday without Kevin Love,
he's getting traded.
He had played his last game in Cleveland.
Yeah.
I think he's played his last game in Cleveland regardless.
He's not. He's getting.
He's gone. Boston, here he comes.
I was saying to Gonzo, they'd be way better off with Andrew Wiggins right now than him.
Oh God, yes. Hey, you know what?
He can play defense.
Gonzo, here's the crazy thing. Gonzo and I have been saying this for the last year. Even last year, after that they were better off in Wiggins. Not only does he give them a threat that can actually catch the basketball and go to the rim and draw fouls, he's not as consistent of a shooter as Kevin Love, but he can make an open shot and he can play defense. So now what you can throw LeBron James at the 4, which I think they're best when they go with that lineup at LeBron, kind of like what they did tonight. Like you saw, Richard Jefferson. I mean, that's kind of sad that you got to it took Richard Jefferson taking Kevin Love's spot for the Cavs to actually show some kind of life on defense. And you know what? I want to talk about this because they mentioned Kyrie Irving's defense tonight, which I thought was really good. I actually thought Kyrie played defense. Does that not tell all of us that this guy is capable of playing defense? Does this not make him look lazy?
Now, I'll tell you what it tells you. Tell you the power of goddamn guaranteed contracts. I'm just saying, that's real talk, man. When you have guaranteed contracts, people don't have to work on their game. And only the great ones do. Think about it, man. I hate to go back to old school, but in the 80s, I was one of the few brothers that loved the Celtics and didn't like the Lakers. But one quote I will give Magic Johnson, he always said, "Why are you working on your game in the summer?" Because I know Larry Bird's working on his.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And these guys were the top players in the game.
I'm glad you mentioned this. There's a guy I know back in Houston, played for the Rockets, started out with the Clippers. Julian probably won't remember him. Gonzo and Sam will, though. Maurice Taylor played at Michigan.
Yeah.
Remember, he gets that nice contract for the Rockets. What happened when he got his contract? He didn't do shit. He did not care anymore. And that dude, and Sam, you remember, that dude could play. He was super talented. He had all the potential, but once he got that big contract from the Rockets, he didn't do shit.
I'll tell you somebody that was great for the Rockets, and once they got rid of him, he left, and subsequently he passed. And that was Eddie Griffin.
Yes, man.
Yeah. Between two things to me. Not guaranteed contracts and the fact that you let these one-and-dones that's coming in the league and they're learning how to play at the elite level on the fly when they should have been getting, to me, the same knowledge and training in college. College prepares you for the NBA. You got a lot of these cats coming out here on talent. It's not a finished product. And only the really good elite that stand out.
LeBron James. Not everybody can be LeBron out of high school, or like Carmelo and play 1 year of college and come in and dominate year one.
Right.
You know what's a good example? Tim Duncan. 4 years college. Came out. He was all NBA first team as a rookie.
Yep.
I don't know if a lot of people know that. Tim Duncan was all NBA first team as a rookie. That's how good he was. And that was a lot of that. That was all Tim Duncan, of course, but also the 4 years of college at Wake Forest.
Exactly.
You know, I know now, I think the thing now is if you stay 2 years even, you're looked at, well, you stayed because you're not good enough.
Right.
I think that's bullshit. How many guys, we can all look. I'm going to go back. Sorry, Julian, you probably won't remember this guy because you were probably like 4 when this guy came out of high school. And Sam will remember. Remember Corleone Young?
Who?
He came out the same year as Al Harrington and Rashard Lewis out of high school. All 3 of them came out. They were in that 98 draft. Corleone Young was the first high school player to announce that he was going to put his name in the draft. Everybody was saying, oh, Corleone Young, top 10 pick. Want to know what happened? This guy went in the second round. I don't even think he got drafted by the Pistons. I don't think he even made the roster.
What about Leon Wood?
Yeah.
Did he turn out to be a referee or somewhere?
Yeah. That's the thing, man. And you just never know when these guys come out of high school. I mean, yeah, obviously, guys end up being good. You know, I went to high school with Rashard Lewis, so I'm always going to be biased towards him. But he was a good player. You know, for a guy that got picked in the second round, he had a hell of a career for a second-round pick.
And I tell you, man, him and Ray Allen in Seattle was something to see.
Yes, man. Yes, absolutely. I mean, it takes some of these guys time. I mean, and like I said, Rashard Lewis, Al Harrington, both really good NBA players. Rashard Lewis makes a couple All-Star games. Al Harrington, he didn't make one, but he's a really good NBA player.
I'll tell you something about let's go back to Portland. And a lot of people don't realize that Portland team, like 2000, the one that lost to the Lakers in 7 games, and almost came back from a 3-1 deficit.
With Scotty and Steve Smith and Stoudemire and Damon Stoudemire.
Who was on the bench and didn't get no clock?
Jermaine O'Neal.
But the only thing about Jermaine, it took Jermaine about 2 to 3 years of learning before Jermaine came with real nice in Indiana. Because he got traded from there to Indiana.
Yes. That's the thing. You know, some of these guys when they come out of high school, they don't. Not every, like I said, not everybody's gonna be LeBron James. Not everybody's gonna be Amari Stoudemire. And like I can think of that would dominate year one. Not even Kobe was dominant year one.
Kobe had to learn.
Kobe had to learn. Now he became a star. He became a really good player in year two. But Kobe didn't get a lot of minutes in year one.
No.
That's why I say only. And I believe Stoudemire was rookie of the year, right? I believe Amari was rookie of the year.
Him or was it Damon?
I think he beat out Yao Ming. Hold on, let me look. I gotta look this up real quick. But I believe he beat out Yao Ming. I'm gonna look it up. I believe it was Amari. But he went into a good situation. It was Amari Stoudemire. Amari Stoudemire was rookie, but how often does that happen?
Right.
LeBron James, Amari. And look how they were built. They were built like grown men coming into the NBA. These other guys, like I remember watching when Rashard Lewis got his first start his rookie year. He had to go against Eddie Jones is who they put on him. And everybody remembers Eddie Jones with the Lakers. He was with the Hornets at the time. They had I believe the Lakers had traded him to the Hornets, and he was guard. And they put Eddie Jones, who was about 6'5", on 6'10" Rashard Lewis. Rashard couldn't do anything with him. So, and Rashard was 6'10". Could shoot great lines. He was not great laterally. He never really was. But it just goes to show you how. And I watched a ton of Rashard's games in high school, and the dude was a monster in high school. But it just goes to show you how good these NBA players are. A guy who dominates the high school level, especially in the state of Texas, at the 5A level, which is all the big level. But he goes to the NBA, he struggled. It took him a couple years to find his niche, So, and let me ask this question for you, Sam. I'm gonna let Julian jump in. I know you're a young guy. So
let Julian get there, man. I'd like to sleep.
I'm gonna let Julian. I don't want you to fall asleep. Julian, let me ask you this. We're going to get this collective bargaining agreement, to prevent this lockout. They're going to go back to the drawing board, and I'm almost positive this will be one of the discussions. Do you let these kids come out of high school? What are your thoughts on that?
No, because most of them aren't ready, and they're usually not strong enough for the NBA. There's only a few guys that I can remember that were really good right when they came out of high school. So I mean, the 1 year thing for college is just fine with me.
Like I said, you're right. LeBron is. Yeah. So my question is this, because I'm okay with guys coming out of high school, and I want the NBA to go more to the baseball route. So you can come out of high school, because I think if you can serve your country at 18 and go and die in war, you should be able to play in the NBA. But if you go to college, you got to give them 2 years. You got to stay 2 years at least. But the only problem I see is, and Sam and Julian and Sam, if we do that, we allow these kids to come in out of high school, but if you go to college, you got to stay 2 years. How many guys? I'm thinking you're going to get 15 kids every year that want to jump straight to the NBA. You're going to get at least 15.
I agree. But
look at all these.
If you get honest scouting, and what I mean by scouting, I'm talking about players want to come out, but they really know how they're going to be drafted and their draft status. You might get that amount. You might not, depending on the player's build and his talent level. But here's the catch, though. I agree with what you're saying. I mean, I'm definitely on board with the 2 years of college. The problem I have with the high school players, they come out, is the kind of bias. And what I mean by a bias is that You got guys overseas that's in these schools and academies, 17, 18, 19 years old, coming
Yes.
straight to the NBA. If they can do it,
Mm-hmm.
these guys ought to be able to do it. The only problem is that these guys come out of high school
Yeah.
are behind the eight ball
Yeah.
because they don't have the skill. You see what I'm saying? That the skill set. That's
Yeah.
where the D League would help them.
Yeah. See,
But
that's why. Yeah. See, this is what I think the NBA should do. I actually I think that's the best. If you're going to go a compromise, because I know the players are going to say, hey, we want these kids. If they want to come out, let them come out. Do the 2-year college thing. You can go to college. But I think what you have, and you're close to it now with the D League. Almost every single organization has a D League team. Get it to where all 30 teams have a D League team. Well, then I say extend the draft by 1 round. Have 3 rounds. You stockpile these guys in the D League, kind of like what baseball does. Because in baseball, you can come out of high school, but also if you go to college, you got to stay 3 years. I don't think 3 years in basketball is necessary. I think 2. 2 is fine, just because of the athleticism of some of these kids. I used to be one of those guys. Oh, these kids couldn't. If they played in my era, they wouldn't be this good. Bullshit. These kids are ready. Some of these kids are ready. You take a guy just take Ben Simmons, for example. The dude is really skilled. He's talented. He's a great shooter. No. That dude had a man's body coming out of high school, NBA, and been a rotation player on a decent team. So I think let these guys come out. But I think what needs to happen, and I like what Brandon Roy was on. I don't know if you guys have listened to JJ Redick's podcast on that he does. He had Brandon Roy on, and Brandon Roy, many people may not know, declared for the NBA draft out of high school and pulled out. He went for a workout, and after that workout, he talked with his people, he talked with the team, and he decided he realized he wasn't ready. So I think if guys options, let these kids work out with these NBA teams. And I think what colleges should do is, in a sense, almost, I don't know how it would work out, but if you don't let these kids declare, if they don't get drafted, let them go to college. Just don't sign an agent. If you sign an agent, you can't go to college. But if you don't sign an agent, you do the workouts. If you don't get drafted, let them go to school. Let them play. What are your thoughts on that?
I like that. The key is don't sign with agents.
Yeah.
Don't be tempted by the money.
I think, and these kids, exactly. And I don't think these kids, if they knew, look, I can put my name in the draft out of high school. As long as I don't sign an agent, if I don't get drafted, I can still go to college and play.
And then with
play my 2 years. I think that's.
And then with the NBA put an age limit on it for simple fact, because you got some guys I can see, all right, I'm gonna get drafted. I don't want to go to college, so I'm gonna go overseas and play. All right, you can go overseas and play, but as long as you ain't got this age limit, I don't care how far you go. If you ain't this age limit, you ain't eligible. Or so many years out of school, that would have been this would have been your junior year. You see what I'm saying? In school,
there was a kid in California, played for the Knicks a little bit. He was on the Warriors for a year, I think. I forgot his name. Big kid. He skipped his senior year of high school and went overseas.
Oh wow!
I don't remember his name. It was probably like in 2010.
Oh wow!
He was with the Knicks summer team. Played a little bit on their team. I think the Warriors actually.
Jeremy Teller?
Yeah, Jeremy Tyler. Yeah.
Big man.
Leave it to the Knicks fan to know. Jeremy Tyler, yes. He actually skipped his senior year of high school and went overseas.
Well, didn't Brandon Jennings go overseas for a year before he came to the league?
He did, but he did that after he graduated high school. Jeremy Tyler skipped his senior season of high school and went overseas.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was other things involved. It wasn't just there were other things involved with that. It wasn't just he wanted to go to the NBA out of his junior year. I think there were other things involved with that, but I mean,
that's got agent.
He's not even talented.
All over. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. See that they've got, I think, and some of these kids, what they've got to stop doing Stop letting these idiots in your ear tell you you can do this and that. They don't give two shits about you. They want you to make money so they can get paid.
Mm-hmm.
That's why these kids gotta stop letting people tell you what you want to hear. And I think it's going to do a lot better for these young kids. And I think if kids would be smart and not let these fucking AAU coaches tell them this and that, and these idiot agents tell them this, be smart. You could implement that rule where you go to college for 2 years, you go out of high school, and you wouldn't have as many guys go because they would be smart instead of listening to the yes men who are telling them what they want to hear. Don't do that shit because you're going to lose.
Right.
Look at all these. We've had a ton of successful kids come out of high school and be NBA All-Stars. I mean, Kobe, LeBron, Jermaine O'Neal, Amari Stoudemire, Andrew Bynum. If not for any player, Dwight Howard, Josh Smith was a borderline All-Star. A lot of good players came out of high school. Al Jefferson. But look at all the busts.
Right, I was gonna say that. I was gonna say exactly that.
Look at all the busts.
For everybody, for all those you just said, I won't say you have twice or 3 times as many busts that tried.
Exactly. Yeah. For every guy like Rashard Lewis, you got Darius Miles or Deshaun Stevenson or Jonathan Ben. Was a guy by the name of Usman Cisse, Georgia,
You know what?
Mississippi.
As quiet as it kept, I wouldn't call Darius a bust for the simple fact Darius was able to get 10 years out the NBA.
Yeah, that's true. And he did average like 21 a game. He started to figure out what injuries got him.
Right.
But look how long it took him. But here's the thing with Darius. Look how long it took him to figure it out. It took him 6-7 years.
And you know what's so crazy about that?
Thing.
I'm gonna tell you what's so crazy about that is that Darius came out of East St. Louis High School.
Yes.
And he played a guy that used to go to Vashon High School out of St. Louis. We used to have a East St. Louis Vashon High School basketball game every year on Martin Luther King Day. There was a guy out there named was Joel Shelton. Anybody in St. Louis know who I'm talking about? Light-skinned guy, could shoot his butt off. He reminds me of Steph Curry. Steph Curry, every time I think of Steph Curry, I think of Joel Shelton because he was the type of guy, he wasn't athletic, but he's a point guard, but he can single, he can dribble, but he had a shot, man, that was just sweet as gold. And I think he played Division I, Division II, but I don't know what happened to him.
I always think of, when it comes to Steph Curry, old school, I always think of Chris Jackson. Or, as some people know him as, Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf.
Right.
I'm going to call him Chris Jackson. That dude was nasty.
He was awesome in LSU.
For those who don't know, yes, he was Shaquille O'Neal's point guard at LSU. Outstanding NBA basketball player. Unfortunately, for his sake, he came in at the wrong time, I think. Because imagine if he came in today's era. Imagine that. This guy would be an all-star, which is kind of a shame. I was thinking today, and I know we're getting not NBA Finals, but basketball. It's all good talk, but everybody, Julian, do you remember Trajan Langdon? Played at Duke, the Alaskan Assassin.
Yeah.
He may have been was on that 99 team that went to the championship game and lost to Duke. I know Sam remembers the Alaskan
Assassin. You talking about Trajan Langdon?
Trajan Langdon. Yeah. He gets picked 11th in the draft in 1999. He's out of the league within a couple years. Doesn't do shit. And I was thinking today because I was, I'm going to say this now, and I'm going to talk to Pete about this because I want us to, Pete wants to do a draft show, and he wants to, but I want to see if he wants to do a show where we talk about previous drafts. But I want to talk about Trajan Langdon. If he comes into the NBA in today's era, do you think he's a much better player? Because I think he is. I think Trajan Langdon would be a perfect player in today's era. With the less physicality, the focus on the three-point shooting.
Yeah.
Because I think he came in at the wrong time.
Man, if you know if you had a show where you just think about all the players that like should have came, I mean that could have came in now. Prime example, Mark
Yeah,
Price.
yeah. Well, Mark Price, I don't want to use Mark Price because Mark Price was great even
I'm just saying,
in the early '90s. He was still a great player.
I'm just saying Mark Price
He would be even
now.
better now. Mark Price would be Steve Nash. For all those people out there that remember Steve Nash, Mark Price was Steve Nash before Steve Nash.
I mean Larry Bird. Being that
Oh God.
I mean Larry Bird now. I'm like, oh man. I give you one guy. I know
Larry
you'll
Bird.
know. There was a 3-point line came out. He was either close to retiring. Downtown Freddie Brown. Man, you talking about guys that would just be averaging 25. I mean, between 19 and 25 points a game. Gervin. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. It's crazy how the game has changed. You got these guys, and then you got guys such as like think Pistol Pete Maravich.
Oh yeah.
Imagine a guy like Pistol Pete in today's NBA. Oh my gosh.
You know what's so crazy about that?
College scoring line.
I'm gonna say, he averaged 44 points in college with no 3-point shot.
With no 3-point line. Yes. Yes.
44 points.
Yes. And all that crazy stuff you see these guys doing with the basketball, Kyrie Irving, Steph Curry, Mike Conley, all the crazy handle without Pistol Pete, those guys wouldn't exist.
Just Google Pistol Pete.
There would be no Julian. You're a Florida guy. You know about the Miami Heat. You remember Jason Williams, right?
Oh yeah, the guy with the nasty handles.
White chocolate.
Yeah.
Yes. Without Pistol Pete, there would be no Jason Williams.
Oh no.
Yes. Yes.
I think without Pistol Pete, you don't get no Magic.
Because he did all the crazy, flashy passes.
And
he brought show. I don't want to say that because I think, and I'm going to go old school before all our time.
I was going to say Bob Cousy.
Bob Cousy was really the first. Yeah, he was the first real Showtime player.
Yeah.
Randy, he only dribbled with his right hand. He was doing things that nobody else was doing at that point guard position.
You know what?
He kind of started it. Then you have guys like Pistol who just took it to a whole other level.
You know what's so wild about this, Meek? I'm gonna go something. I'm gonna accuse somebody of something. If you notice in the 70s, 80s, jokers, point guard especially, they would dribble. Most of the time they'll dribble, back behind, back you down. It's one too many crossovers. You see what I'm saying? If you think about it, one too many crossovers.
No, not at all.
All right. I'll say it. I start seeing it with Isaiah and Jordan. I'm going to tell you somebody who started this shit, it has been a problem. We ain't hear nothing about isolations, this, that, and other. When that goddamn Tim Hardaway started that U-tip, two-step, it was a damn misunderstanding.
Yes.
It was a damn misunderstanding.
It's a damn shame that, let's see, Julian, you probably, let's see, 91, 92, yeah, you probably weren't, yeah. There was a commercial, and I know Sam remembers this. And if you're a sneaker person, you know about the Nike Air Raid. That's the shoe Tim Hardaway wore. Let me show you how to shoot when the wind is up. Yes, that dude, the killer crossover, as Sam knows. Tim Hardaway is the dude who invented that move.
Whew.
At least that's what I say. That dude was so nasty. Another guy I don't think people understand, Kenny Anderson.
Oh yeah.
Kenny Anderson was nasty.
If he could have just kept this little off the court problem
It's
together, man.
crazy.
Matter of fact, I'll tell you, tell you something.
Exactly.
He was part of a team. He's a part of a great Georgia Tech team called Lethal Weapon 3.
Yes.
Him?
Yes.
Dennis Scott?
Yes.
And a dude named, I want to say Brian Anderson. I don't know if it's Brian Anderson, but I want to say it's Brian Anderson. Lethal Weapon 3. The only reason they didn't get to the Final
that's
Four
right. That's right.
was they ran into UNLV.
3D.
Yep.
Dennis Scott, 3D.
Yep.
See, Julian, this is the shame about being young, and I'm not trying to hate on young people. You see Dennis Scott. You probably see the guy that's on NBA TV analyzing games. This dude was nasty. You gotta remember.
Yeah, I know who he is.
Dennis Scott's one of the greatest three-point shooters in the history of the league. Yeah. You probably know Orlando Magic. Yeah, played with Shaq and Penny. Yeah. See, that's good, Julie. You know the history. This is good as a young dude. Hell, I was young. Hell, I was what? Dennis Scott got drafted in 1990. I was 8 years old when he was drafted. I just was one of those guys. I lived in Chicago. Like, I was fortunate enough. Like, my dad coached high school basketball. So when I was like 5 years old, I was watching Bulls games because I lived in Chicago at the time. So I was fortunate enough to I got into the game at a really young age, and I'm 34 now. But, in '89 I moved to Houston. I was born in Houston, moved to Chicago when I was 4, moved back to Houston when I was right before I turned 8. But I was able to watch a couple years of Michael Jordan and the Bulls. I just really got into the game. So, and I always, which is an awesome thing. I remember, most third graders are out watching cartoons, playing video games and stuff. I was in my parents' bedroom watching Chicago Bulls games back, even in Houston, because as everybody knows, they used to show every game on WGN nationwide. So we got every Bulls game. So I was watching. I was privileged enough to watch most of Michael Jordan's career, even at a young age. I remember watching it live when he hit 6 threes in the finals in '92, and he did the shoulder shrug. Which at the time I'm like, holy shit, this dude just hit 6 threes. Now look what we got. We got Klay Thompson hitting 11, 12 threes in a playoff game.
Yeah, 37 points in the quarter.
The game has changed. Yeah. I watched Klay Thompson hit 37 against Sacramento. I seen that live. I saw live when Kobe had 81. To me, the greatest individual performance I've ever seen live. It was on TV, but it was live.
81
greatest thing I've ever seen.
What about
50?
What about Kobe's 60-point game?
That was amazing too against Dallas. I saw that one as well.
I tell you what. Go ahead.
The reason I say the 81 was more impressive was not only did he have 55 in the second half, they were down close to 20 points at halftime against the Raptors. See, everybody says, well, they played the Raptors. Yeah, they played a Raptors team that had Jalen Rose, that had Chris Bosh, that had Mo Peterson. They played a decent Raptors team that year. And they were down 20 at halftime, and Kobe dropped 55 on them in the second half. It was insane. He was hitting shots with 2 guys have hands in his face from 30 feet. It was crazy.
You want to get a chance, I tell you a performance that goes unnoticed. In the 80s, maybe 90s, I don't know what it was. Get a chance, YouTube. Larry Bird scoring 60 against Atlanta in New Orleans. And I'm going to tell you what's so crazy about it. It's not the fact that he scored 60. Number one is how he scored 60. And number two, and what's so hilarious is the reaction to the Atlanta bench when he scored.
And that was classic. And it was in New Orleans. Why was it in New Orleans? What was the reason for it?
It was Atlanta home game. I guess maybe trying to just. They used to do things like that. Atlanta would have games there, like Boston would have games in Hartford.
Yeah, okay.
Back when the Kings was in Kansas City, they would have some games here in St. Louis.
Yeah.
So that's the way the NBA did it. Just try to explain. That was their way, I guess, expanding the brand. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, trying to get more fans. That makes sense. Yeah.
Right. And because you didn't have to think about it, they didn't have this global TV coverage at the time either.
And my guess is if I YouTube it, I could probably get the whole game.
I mean, all you gotta do is just say Larry Bird scored 60 against Atlanta and New Orleans. You'll be like, and just look at the bench, man. That's classic, dude.
Mm-hmm. See, it's funny. I watched back right after I graduated high school in 2000. ESPN Classic I want to say once a week would show a classic NBA game, and they showed Boston, Chicago when Mike had 63 in the playoffs. They showed the entire game, and I'm watching it, and I wasn't even 19 at the time. I was 18, about to be 19. I'm watching the game. I'm like, this is impressive, but I expect, crazy as it sounds, it was not as impressive as like people make it out to be. Crazy as that may come off, that 63 against Boston in the playoffs was not as impressive as I think it looks. He had to do it in overtime also.
Well, it's impressive to me based on the lineup that they had.
Yeah,
if you look at the lineup that Chicago had, I want to say you had an Asian George Gervin that was a shell of himself.
Yeah. The only good player they really had other than Michael was Orlando.
Right, and he wasn't the scorer that he wound up being at the Lake with the Lakers. He was alright, but
yeah,
but it was impressive to me because he came back. He only played like 17 games. He broke his foot.
Yeah. That was what was impressive. He came back to the playoffs after breaking his foot. But I'm going to tell you a story. I actually played. Orlando Woolridge was a coach of mine about 8 years ago. He was a coach for a team I played for, and we were playing this team. We were in New York for a road trip, playing these two teams in Corning and Syracuse, just a small, just minor league, ABA team. And we're in the airport in Binghamton, New York. We're headed home back to Houston. This was 07, November of 07. And he was telling us when Mike got drafted. The Bulls had Reggie Theus.
Right.
And by the way, rest in peace, Orlando Woolridge. Very nice man, by the way.
Oh, I didn't know he died.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he died back in 2012. He was a very nice man, outstanding human being. Like a lot of the stuff you see was wrong about him. I will defend him all day. But he was telling us the Bulls had traded Reggie Theus to the Kings.
Right.
And they were playing Reggie Theus in the preseason. They played a game against the Kings. And Reggie Theus was mouthing off to the press. Oh, man, Michael Jordan this. They shouldn't have traded me. Man, he said Mike went off and dropped like 35 on this dude in the first half. And that's when Orlando, because, and the thing is, Orlando and Mike did not get along. And he told us that. He's like, we didn't get along. They were not friends. But he was in awe, and that's why I was like, man, this dude's telling the truth. Because he didn't even like Mike when he was telling us how cold he was. He was like, yeah, that's when we knew this dude was special. And this was just a preseason game when Mike was a rookie. They were like, yeah, this dude is special. Because Reggie Theus was cold. Everybody, for young people may not remember, but, a lot of OGs know Reggie Theus could hoop. That dude was nice.
Remember, who was that? Him and somebody else had a no smoking commercial. They played. Who was that they had that smoking commercial with? Oh, man.
It was Reggie Theus?
It was Reggie Theus and somebody else. Oh, I can't think of it. Oh, man. He tried dribbling with a cigarette in his hand and everything. Oh, man, funny. It was funny as hell.
Yeah.
Oh, I got to YouTube that.
Yeah, man, but that's where, like, because we all were curious. We were in the airport waiting for the plane to come, and we were just like, Coach, man, Mike, how cold was this dude? And he told us, he was like, man, that dude, he just told us that dude, we knew he was special his rookie year in the preseason. When Reggie Theus called him out, he just busted Reggie Theus' ass in a preseason game. And we don't take preseason games serious, but that's what he was like. We knew this dude was special. So I mean, shout out to Orlando Woolridge, rest in peace. But man, I like that. That Michael Jordan was just. Oh, I wish I wish Julian. I wish you had an opportunity to watch this dude live in his prime.
I
Hey,
know,
hey,
man. I wish too.
Oh my gosh.
hey, Meek. It
What's
was
up?
it was Reggie Theus and Isaiah Thomas
Okay.
of all people.
Yes, 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 yes. I remember. I'm gonna tell you, like back in it was the first time Chicago played Utah in the finals, '97. My mom and my dad went with my aunt, my uncle. They went to Vegas, and I was with my grandparents. You know, I flew to Florida to be with my grandparents. So they come back, and I was like, I was 15 at the time, and they come back, and they were staying there. I want to say like Treasure Island in Las Vegas. I've never been there, but so they're everybody's on the gambling floor, and this is how crazy it was for Michael Jordan at the time. And this was the first year they played Utah. Everybody stopped gambling, ran to the big screen that they have in these casinos just to watch Michael Jordan play. That's how crazy it was for the guy. Like like Sam knows. Sam knows just how nuts it was for Michael Jordan. Like there's
Dude,
nothing, like we look at LeBron James, Stephen Curry, Kobe Bryant as these great stars. That was nothing compared to Michael Jordan. And this was before social media. It was nuts. Everybody stopped what they were doing just to watch Michael Jordan
let me tell you something, dude. I was in the Marines in '92. They had just won their second championship.
against Portland.
Right, and they came and they matter of fact, no, it was '92. I had broke my ankle, got a plate and 8 screws in it. I had bought some tickets and a 3-pack for $40. It was Portland, Detroit, and the Bulls.
Mm-hmm.
I fooled around. I forgot about the Detroit game. I didn't want to see them.
Because they were with the bad boys at that time.
Yeah. And there was the bad boys winding down though.
Yeah.
So you think I got on some crutches with my camera bag and took my butt to see this game. That's how much Mike went, how much Mike was an attraction. And Mike didn't disappoint me because he lit the Bullets and Purvis up for 56 points that night. They call themselves playing homage. They won. I don't know. He was rookie. I think Purvis was like rookie of a week or something like that. Like, oh, Mike, like, okay. That's when LeBron said, "I'm the George stuff." Like, okay, get some of this right here. And what's so crazy about Mike's shot is that Mike wasn't fundamentally sound as far as shooting. I mean, most people shoot a ball, they shoot with an arc and everything. Mike was a line drive shot.
Yeah, he had a flat jump shot. His jumper was flat.
Right. Straight ball on in. It wasn't no arc to it. No arc.
You know, much like Kobe Bryant. See,
Yeah.
I always say, and my best friend Byron, who's been on a couple times with us, couldn't make it tonight, and I'm gonna shout him out right now. But he always told me, he's like, man, Kobe stole Mike's game. I kind of believe it. When you watch Kobe, he stole Mike's game. Everything Kobe does. Look at him in the post. His post fadeaway. That was Michael's fadeaway.
I mean, he's the closest thing to splitting image to Mike. I like him. The only thing Mike wasn't as selfish and demanding, I would say, down on his team, and so isolated himself from his teammates like Mike did. I think Mike tried to embrace and include everybody.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the biggest differences between him and Kobe.
Kobe was very much to himself.
Right. Mike, to me, you can't be that way and be too much to yourself. To me, that's like a double standard to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, I want you to follow me, but once the game over, I ain't got nothing to do with y'all.
Yeah. See, I wonder if that is why, because I was thinking about this the other day when when LA they trade for Dwight Howard, they trade for Steve Nash, and I will be the first to admit, when that trade went down, I was like, holy shit, this team's about to take Miami out. This is the team to do it.
I seriously thought that too, but then I was like,
I think,
Nash is old as hell.
It had, you know why Nash didn't scare me? Because Nash was only about 36, 37 when that trade. John Stockton retired at like 41, 42, and was still cold when he retired. So I was not worried about Nash, because Nash's game was never based on athleticism. But when you look at how that season went down, Nash got hurt game 1. He breaks his leg. He's out for a month. Then Dwight Howard just really could not. I mean,
Dwight came there hurt. Dwight came there hurt.
Yeah, he was hurt.
Gasol was terrible that year.
Yeah, but Dwight, him and Kobe never got along. But I think the biggest mistake that team made was Jim fucking Bust. You know, rest in peace to his dad, passed away. When they had an opportunity to bring in Phil Jackson as coach, why the fuck go get Mike D'Antoni? You've got Kobe, you've got Dwight.
Dwight asked for Phil Jackson too.
I absolutely, Sam. If Phil Jackson is the coach, does Dwight re-sign with the Lakers instead of going to the Rockets? I think he does.
Here's the deal, though. Here's the catch, though. Yes. Here's the problem. Yes, Dwight resigns with the Lakers, but it alienates the hell out of Kobe. It was either, I think the reason they didn't do it, I think they chose D'Antoni over Jackson for 2 reasons. One, Bust didn't like Phil.
Absolutely.
2, and I think more important, it was just as important, is that do we want Kobe or do we want Dwight? Because a triangle offense with Phil Jackson features Dwight Howard. All right. Kobe just ran goddamn Shaq off.
Yeah.
And Shaq was more talented than Dwight Howard ever would be.
Absolutely.
So Kobe's going to defer to this dude? Ain't going to happen.
No. Yeah.
Nah, ain't going to happen.
And the thing is, you can bring Kobe can play for any coach because of the skill set. And D'Antoni was Steve Nash's coach, so naturally it seems like a good fit.
But you playing 7 seconds or less with a guy that's 36 years old versus somebody that was 31, 32 that was winning back-to-back MVP.
Exactly. So let me ask you this, because I know the both of us were on the Sim Hangout about a month ago with Czar, with Gonzo and all that. But we never got to this because it wasn't rumored at the time. So I got to ask, now that we're talking about D'Antoni. D'Antoni as Houston Rockets coach, what does that tell you?
That tells you they value offense over defense. That's
they
all
want Dwight out too.
Yeah.
But Dwight has opt out too.
Yeah, and he's gonna opt out.
He's gone. He's gone, and somebody's gonna be foolish enough to pay him what he wants.
Yeah, I totally agree. But here's my thing. I'm going to get to Dwight in a second, because I think there's one team he can go to and be successful if they do things right. But it leads me to believe they don't want Dwight. They always said, when we pick our coach, we're going to talk to James Harden. We know James Harden is, let's be honest, he's capable of being a good defensive player. He can move laterally. He's quick. He can play defense if he wants to. He doesn't want to play defense. D'Antoni doesn't give 2 shits about the defensive end of the floor. So, do they go with D'Antoni? Does James Harden agree to that? Because he does not want to be held accountable for his defense. And I truly believe Kevin McHale was holding him accountable for his atrocious defense.
Well, also, I know when they hired D'Antoni, they also required that he brought in some type of defensive quote-unquote coordinator.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. But my thing is,
I read that too.
The team will follow the lead of its best player.
Mm-hmm.
And bottom line is, as long as James Harden is down in Houston, you have no leader.
No.
You have no leadership.
Because you guys, Julian, Sam, you both saw against the Warriors in the first round of the playoffs. Perfect example. James Harden is playing one-on-one defense. Harrison Barnes has the basketball. He blows right by him. James Harden is not even in the defensive stance. He's standing straight up. Barnes blows by him, dunk. What does James Harden do? Does he say, oops, my bad? No. He looks at Dwight Howard, where the fuck were you? That's not a leader. And see, this is why I feel bad in a sense for Dwight Howard. I know it's crazy to say, but if I'm Dwight Howard, I'm like, man, I'm not playing hard. If you don't pass me the ball, you come down, you only pass when you get in trouble. You get your 6 or 7 assists, but it's because you're in trouble and you have no shot, so you kick it off for the shot or the easy dunk. You're not trying to get us involved. But then on defense, you do nothing, and you blame it on me when you get beat. That's bullshit. But Dwight Howard.
But Dwight Howard has the same problem I think sometimes LeBron has. And this is it. Dwight Howard does. I'm getting sick and tired. When Dwight Howard first went to Houston, they had this press conference. Mm-hmm. All the legendary big men were there.
That's right. I think Clyde and Dream were both there.
Moses was there. God rest his soul. I'm around here.
Was Moses there?
Moses was there.
Okay.
I'm gonna get her here. I'm gonna work on my game. I'm coached by one of the best big men. I got all this resources. Same shit, different team. Mm-hmm. You know, no post game, no turnaround fade, no drop step, no free throw shooting, but you gonna demand the ball.
Yeah. See,
I'm like, really?
You know what's crazy about that? You have the greatest, the most skilled big man in the history of the game, Hakeem Olajuwon, at your disposal, and you don't use him.
Right.
And they talked to Hakeem about that. And Hakeem even said, and this is when Dwight was a Houston Rock. He's like, I'm disappointed in this guy.
Right.
He's got all the ability. He just doesn't want to do it.
And you got one of the best. I tell you what's so crazy about it. The best big man in the game has a bad attitude. Mm-hmm. You know who that is? It's Boogie Cousins.
Yeah.
Because he's too much in power. He's happy losing.
Yeah.
Split on about the numbers.
That's why I would not, if I'm a young player, and the Kings got the 8th pick in the draft. If I'm a young player, if I'm a guy like Chris Dunn or Buddy Hield or Jamal Murray, I don't want to get drafted by the Kings. That's why I think we all looked at Ben McLemore when he was at Kansas. Like this dude, he was projected at one time a #1 overall pick. He gets picked 7th or 8th. He went to a terrible situation. Like, I actually think Ben McLemore has game. He can play. But he's with the Kings. What more do you expect?
I thought he was going to be better than Victor Oladipo.
Yeah. He's on the wrong team, though.
Yeah, you losing mentality, man. You got management don't know what the hell they talking about. The only decent coach they had, you get rid of, because you go to Main Street, and they got rid of Mike Malone. Mike Malone.
But hopefully, and I like Coach Yorger, the guy they got from Memphis. I like him.
I like Yorger.
Yeah.
Yorger he's a hard-nosed coach. I hope he can turn this. But the problem is you have an owner who thinks they should go and play like 4-on-5.
Right. Just keep out the other end of the basket, man.
He thinks the problem with him is he thinks it's my GM on NBA 2K.
Right. He's not a real owner. To me, that owning that team to him is a hobby.
Exactly.
And I like Yeager, but I have a problem with Yeager. And this was the problem I have with Yeager. Is that they fired Lionel Hollins after they got him to the Western Conference Finals.
Exactly, yeah. And that should have never happened.
He came in there. Yeager comes in. He said, we're going to be different. But in 2 weeks of the season, he's doing the same shit Lionel Hollins doing.
Yeah, they were the exact same team.
So what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, they were the exact same team.
There was
no difference.
Sacramento needs somebody to come in there that takes a leadership role, and I don't know what veteran That is. I don't know what veteran can come in there because you got Rondo. He is his own man.
And
So
he's gone. He's not going to be.
right, you know, so he's his own man. So who do you bring there to A, command the respect of the locker room, and two, somebody managers can trust, and three, somebody Boogie Cousins can trust? Because to me, that's Boogie show.
Yeah, oh, yeah. I mean, Cousins is the best big man in basketball.
Right.
On a pure talent perspective, shoot from the outside. Yes, post game, but his attitude sucks, man. You know the guy who I think of, and God, it pains me to say this as a Bulls fan.
Eddie Curry?
You know who I think? No, you know who I think could go in there and actually do a good job as a veteran is Kirk Heinrich. I think Kirk Heinrich could be a guy. Not as a player.
You know who I think that could probably grab his attention? He probably stand up to him because he's just as tall as him. Is Noah.
Yeah, that's a good point. The problem is Noah's not going to sign with Noah's going to Minnesota.
You know,
I'm convinced Noah's going to the backfield.
He's going to where?
Do if I were him.
Going up to Minnesota with Tibbs?
Minnesota.
Minnesota's going to be dangerous.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
I just hope Tibbs doesn't run everybody in the ground. If he uses that bench like he do.
Yeah, that's the only thing that scares me. I think Tibbs is the perfect coach for them as long as he doesn't kill them. But Noah's the perfect guy. Noah will go to Minnesota and start. Towns and Noah will be the big guys. Wiggins, Levine, and Rubio will be the guards. They got the 5th pick in the draft, which I think, from what I've read, Tibbs is actually more leaning towards trading the pick and getting a veteran. But I think if you're Tibbs, draft a guy like Buddy Hield. I like Buddy Hield with that 5th pick from Minnesota because he's played the 4 years in college. He can come off the bench. He's going to guard, and he will hit open shots.
Well, my thing, I'll tell you who I would pick. I'm picking the heir apparent for Ricky Rubio. Because to me personally, I'm trying to get rid of that dude, man.
Would you take Chris Dunn then?
The best available point guard that I can develop.
Yeah, that's Chris Dunn.
And then I'm keeping Rubio. But if I don't get nothing by him, if I don't get what I feel like I need to get out of him by the trade deadline, I'm getting rid of him.
Yeah.
He's gone.
I think Rubio, I think, will fit into with Tibbs' defensive schemes because if Rubio's a better defender than Derrick Rose, if Derrick Rose can start for Tom Thibodeau, I think Rubio can.
I'll tell you somebody that could start for Thibodeau. He knows him. He understands and respects Thibodeau, and he's also a great defender. That's Rondo.
Who's that? Yeah.
You put Rondo up in Minnesota.
What does? I think the thing is Minnesota, because Rondo with the salary cap going up, is Rondo. They're not going to be able to pay him. Well, they might be able to because they really don't have any guys with a lot of salary. They got a bunch of young guys.
But here's the catch: you don't sign Rondo to a long-term contract. You give him a 2-year contract with a year opt-out or a 3-year contract with an opt-out of 2.
Yeah.
That way he doesn't miss money.
I would give him I'd give him a 2-year deal with an opt-out after 1. And I only say that because of his knees. Torn ACL, how's that going to hold up? You know, you never know. I'd go 2. 3 is probably 3 would work too. It's going to be an interesting.
Mill, the Gremlins are coming after you.
Go back to the NBA Finals. I want to ask you guys. I'm going to talk to Pete about this too. But I was thinking today, the Bucks. I was thinking about the Western City Thunder with all those athletic guys and everything, right? So you have Milwaukee, Parker, Middleton, the Greek Freak, right? Michael Carter-Williams, who's big, can move his feet. So you have the 10th pick in the NBA draft. and I don't want to take. I didn't want to take it to the draft, but I have to. And I was thinking today, that 10th pick, 7'1", can move his feet, and the one thing that I love about him, he can dribble, pass, shoot. So imagine this, and I find Drake Monroe. He does not fit. He doesn't defend. He can't dribble, pass, shoot. So imagine a lineup of this. Greek Freak is your point guard. He's 6'11". Chris Middleton's like 6'7", 6'8" as your 2. Parker is 6'8", 6'9" as your small forward. Thonmaker, and then you sign either Bismack Biyombo or Dwight Howard, and that's why I wanted to come to Dwight Howard, Milwaukee Bucks. This is why I think Howard would be a perfect fit with a group like that. All right, Dwight. We're going to get you your touches down low, more than you got with the Rockets. All we want from you, you protect the rim, you rebound the basketball. Think about that.
And you shoot some damn free throws.
Yeah, make some free throws for us. Like that to me, I think Milwaukee, and that only is contingent if they take Thon Maker number 10. Who I think Thon Maker's projected to go mid to late first round, but I don't know how you, if you're Milwaukee and he's there at 10, how do you not take him?
Is he
I don't
coming
know.
up?
I've been watching.
He's coming from overseas, right?
From Canada, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he's coming out of high school.
I've been watching this kid's highlights since his like sophomore year in high school. This dude can play. His handle, he shoots the basketball. No, he was a high school. He was a high school player. When he went to Canada, go look up on YouTube, Thon Maker. Just look at his highlights. This dude can ball. I've been watching this guy for 4 years. I think he's like, if I were Boston, I would take him at number 3. That's news for everybody out there. I would take Thon Maker number 3 overall.
I think he's gonna be better than that Dragon Bender guy.
Yeah, absolutely, he is.
I think that's just gonna be a bust.
I don't want to say Bender's gonna be a bust. I just don't think he's gonna be Porzingis. I know you're a Porzingis guy, Julian, and no, he's not going to be Porzingis. I will say this about Bender, though. He's better. He's more mobile off, like he's more fluid and smooth off the dribble than Porzingis. From what I've seen, he's just watching him in games against those guys over in Europe. He's more smooth off the dribble, but he's not nearly the shooter as Porzingis. He doesn't look like he's going to be the shot blocker that Porzingis is. He doesn't look like he's going to rebound. But you never know with these European kids. But Thon Maker, that's the guy.
What's the name?
Which guy? Thon Maker or Dragan Bender?
No, what you just told me. Von Maker?
Thon Maker. Go look at Thon, Thon, Thon Maker. The dude is 7'1". He plays like Kevin Durant.
He can dribble like that?
When you walk,
the
dribble. The dude can dribble. Yes. Yes. I've been watching. Like I was. One day ran. You know, I've always. I pay attention to the top high school.
They got him projected to go 27th to North Toronto.
I always have, and I remember watching some videos. He was either a freshman. He's how this guy is. Some people have him as a second rounder. I don't see it. He's done it for you. There's no way.
I put you like this, Meek. Don't let him fall. Don't let him fall to the Spurs.
Oh God!
Oh.
If Spurs get Thon Maker, it's over. Because I will say this: Thon Maker he's 19 right now, so he'd probably be 20 come start of the regular season. Thon Maker is a rotation player right now on a good NBA team. Maybe even a great NBA team. He's a rotation guy. On a team like the Bucks, he's a starter. I think he's that talented. He's like, nobody thought Porzingis was going to do anything. Now,
even as a Knicks fan,
I like Porzingis, and this is just based on workouts. And I've been, Yeah, I was on Porzingis before the Knicks drafted him. I was working out some of my middle school kids last summer. I had them in the gym, and they were talking about the draft. Coach, who do you think's gonna? I told them Porzingis. Everybody knows Towns. Everybody knew Okafor. Porzingis during one of the during lunch day, like probably halfway through the season. It's like
let's talk about.
Towns. I still told.
Now I'm gonna say I'll be honest with you, Meek. It's not really clear overall who's the #1 pick. Because I'm telling you right now, based on the way I've seen Ben Simmons play, if I'm Philly, I'm questioning his heart. Because one thing about Philly fans,
Yeah.
if they see that you ain't bringing your lunch pail to work, they will turn on you quick. And if I got my choice, I think I might take Ingram #1. I just have to let the Lakers deal with Ben Simmons.
That's why they fell in love with Allen Iverson.
Because I think Ben Simmons has that laid back mentality for the Lakers.
Yeah.
And the fact that he doesn't have a jump shot, he can work with them.
Yeah.
And he can learn to get his shot. He
goes
out to Philly, man. I think he's going to get exposed.
Yeah. I was watching a workout. Someone posted a Vine on Twitter of him just doing some shooting drills. He shoots a good ball. He's got to work on some things. He shoots a decent ball. He's not as bad as I never really watched college this year. I won't lie. What I typically do, I watch these workouts. I watch the drills, and I know you can be wrong with drills, but he shoots a good basketball. He shoots a good ball. He's not bad. He can improve and be a good shooter. I don't think he'll ever be a great shooter, but he could be a serviceable shooter. But I think what Philadelphia is thinking, like when you look at upside, like to me, I'm going to go back. I think Thon Maker has the best upside in this draft. But most people will say Ben Simmons has the biggest upside, and I think that's where Philadelphia's going. If Ingram and Simmons both reach their maximum potential, Simmons is probably the better player, and I think that's what Philadelphia's thinking. I absolutely agree with you, though. I think Ingram fits better because Ingram can already shoot the basketball, and they need shooting. Why would you go with a guy who needs to work on that?
And they already get like six bigs.
But on top of that, they do need a playmaker. Ben Simmons is a good playmaker. He has a lot of the same skill set as LeBron James. So I think that's what they're going. That's what they're thinking.
They say he has the same skill set as LeBron, but one thing I don't see the will of LeBron. I don't see the will in the heart. I just don't see it, man. I really don't.
We'll see. I agree. I would go with Ingram, but I understand why they're probably going to go with Simmons. I won't. I mean, in the end of the day, probably either way, you can't go wrong. Because and this is one thing I've looked at a lot of these NBA drafts, because I know a lot of people have, and that's why I want Pete to do an NBA draft show. So I've looked at all these NBA drafts since 1996.
I will tune in for that.
96 draft and on. I can only find one NBA draft that I can truly say was weak, and that was the 2000 draft. Kenyon Martin was drafted #1 because the best player from that draft was Michael Redd.
Yeah.
And that's the only draft. Like, people will say, oh, what about 01? Well, 01 produced Pau Gasol. 01 produced Gilbert Arenas. 01 produced Zach Randolph. 01 produced Shane Battier. 01 produced Jason Richards. 01 produced Joe Johnson. That was a good NBA draft. There were good players, all-stars, Some say, well, what about 99? Well, 99 produced Elton Brand, Jamal Crawford. Many people forget, Manu Ginobili was drafted in 1999.
Second round.
Yeah, Manu Ginobili was 99. Lamar Odom, Baron Davis, Steve Francis. And, Steve Francis was wrong.
Steve Francis was wrong, man, till he got Yao Ming and didn't know how to do and drive to the hole, man. Once Yao Ming got there, he didn't know how to drive to the hole. It was like, he just sit up there around the 3-point line, cross over between the legs, would not drive the hole, man. I don't know what's wrong with him.
Yeah.
And Michael Redd's another
That's
guy,
why
man.
they trade.
Michael Redd is another guy that I think would have benefited from today's NBA standards because he's a damn good shooter. Michael Redd was a nice shooter, but he just played on some horrible Milwaukee teams.
You there, Meek?
Because we have Michael Redd, he can do the same thing as Ray Allen. Wasn't as good as shooting, but he was close. Michael Redd could really. With Michael Redd was he but the other thing, 1999 draft, Richard Hamilton, good draft. 2000 though, awful. Kenyon Martin was the #1 overall pick. Come on now. Mike Miller went 6. Oh shit. Hey, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
You coming in broken and
Damn,
a little broken. Sounding good, but you're coming in broken a little bit.
All right, yeah, I was saying, like, the 2000 draft, though, Mike Miller was Rookie of the Year. He was a good NBA player, but if Mike Miller is your Rookie of the Year, come on. Come on now. That can't be a great draft. Oh, shit. Yo. Hey, Julian, can you hear me? Hit me?
I can kind of hear you, but you're breaking up.
Damn. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was just saying, like, that 2000 draft, very bad. But let's go on. So we've been here for a while, but I'm going to go on to this. I want to go to our game number 4 predictions. See what's going to happen game 4. Julian, start us off. Who wins game 4?
I think the Warriors are going to win by 20 points. I think they're.
Blowout.
I just don't see them losing again.
Blowout.
This game was a fluke.
Yeah. Blowout. So you got Warriors in game 4 and a blowout. Sam, game 4, who you got?
I got the Warriors. Closer game. I think they make the necessary adjustments, and the only time they've ever lost 2 games in a row was when they lost back-to-back to OKC. And I don't think the Cavs are as good as OKC.
No, absolutely not, especially defensively. And before I give my prediction, that's another thing I thought about the last few days with OKC. I don't think OKC is a great team offensively. I think they have their flaws. They play a lot of iso ball, but defensively, they can. They're one of the few teams in the NBA that not only can they put a long athletic guy on Curry, but they can put a long athletic guy on Klay Thompson. And then on the screens, the pick and roll defense, Serge Ibaka and Steven Adams can move their feet. No other team, and that's why I think they gave the Warriors so many problems. But with all that said, because I picked this series to go 6 with the Warriors winning, but I thought the Cavs would split in Cleveland. Therefore, I got to go with the Warriors in Game 4. I think this series goes 5 now. I'm going to go Warriors in Game 4, 115 to 110. I'll give a score. 115-110. Warriors win. Steph Curry's going to go for 40. I'll even go that far.
One question about Game 4 is Kevin Love going to play?
We don't know yet.
I guarantee there will be no love in Game 4.
If I'm the Cavs, even if he's cleared, I sit him on the bench.
Oh yeah.
That's what I would do. You can't change it up. You just beat the shit out of him without him. You gotta go with what works. Even if he doesn't,
unless you're really trying to expose him in his trade value, you start him. You go right ahead.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But I'm going Warriors 115, Cavs 110. Curry's gonna get 40. calling it now.
Or
I'm wrong. Everybody can chew my ass out on. But
Warriors 97, Cavs 90. Splash Brothers finally returned.
nice. Oh, you're going with a defensive struggle. I like it. I like it. Yes, but I'm gonna let everybody. We're gonna get out of here because I know it's late. Tomorrow, Thursday, all the rest of you internets out there got to get to sleep, get up and go to work. Fortunately, because I
Breaking up, Matt.
Yeah, the Gremlins have got them.
can y'all hear me?